coming to you live from London. This city is over 1,975 years old, right? The UK generates over 318,000 megawatts of electricity. Yep. And the population is just 68 million. Now, you know where I'm going. Nigeria is over 200 million. We're talking about 5,000 megawatts of electricity generation. So you come here, you see the train, you see the cable cars, you see all the massive infrastructure, the industries, they are all eating electricity. And you and I can keep complaining, or we can discuss how to get this better. And it takes all of us to make it work. It's not just government alone. And one of the reasons why we started the Big Talk with DSA show is for all of us, including those of us in diaspora, those of us back at home, and those in government, to sit together and ask, how do we make our country better? An awesome discussion today. I have some of the best experts. We're going to have a great time. But let me leave you with this as we get back to the studio. Remember, if we're going to make Nigeria great, you and I have to take personal responsibility for her, either by going to government or holding those in government accountable for creating the needed change to have a great nation. Welcome to Big Talk with DSA. I'm Dr. Stephen Akintayo. See you in the studio. Welcome to another amazing episode of Big Talk with Dr. Stephen Akintayo. I'm excited today. I have two amazing guests. The first is Chief Sunday Odunton, who is the Executive Director, Research Advocacy Association of Electricity Distributors, and the spokesman for DISCO. Can we put our hands together for him? And then we have a producer and actor, Yemi Sholade. Welcome. Good to have you. Nice to be here. Yes. So today we're going to be discussing about the bane of electricity in Nigeria. We all know, we used to call them NEPA. Then they kept changing it, right? To, I think it was... No, it was A something, maybe ACN or, before PACN. And then now, what's the new name?
Yes, ECN. ECN before NEPA, PACN after NEPA.
Okay, PACN after NEPA. So it's been different names. And let me even start with you, Chief Sunday. Why after 22 years of putting in, some would say, $5 billion into this sector, we still don't have stable electricity? What's going on?
Okay, I think we all need to, first of all, be dispassionate and just get the facts right first. If we know the facts, like you rightly said earlier, you said we need to know the problem, then we can provide solution.
Very true.
So we need to see it as not a drama, not a play. Fact. First of all, Nigeria is a country of about 210 million people, so we are told. Because first of all, Nigeria does not have an accurate census. For you to serve anybody, even in a household, a polygamous man that has 30 children and 3 wives, they need to know the number of children in the house, plus the 3 wives, to be able to prepare the soup and the meal for the house. So if you don't even know people that you're serving, how do you plan and prepare for them?
Yeah.
But we are told by the World Bank and other international bodies that we're about 210 million people.
So the reason we don't have electricity
now, I'm now saying that, no, it has to do. I'm saying that it is very sad that a country that has about 120 million people, and we are, of course, the 6th largest oil-producing country in the world,
yes,
with a very significant gas reserve that can last for another 100 years, yet the nation is still generating an average of 4,000 megawatts of electricity. Let me tell you what their deal is.
4,000 still.
An average, 5,700, never 6,000 continuously for 1 week. So what I'm saying is this. If the ideal thing is for you to generate 1,000 megawatts of electricity per 1 million populace. So if your population is 100 million, then that means you need to generate 100,000 megawatts.
Wow.
And to make it clear for people to understand, let me use South Africa. South Africa, as you know, is a country that's less endowed than Nigeria, in whichever way you look at it.
Yes.
But South Africa has a population of about 57.3 million people.
Yes.
And today, they generate an average of 41.194 megawatts of electricity.
But this
41,194
South Africa
megawatts.
also has this, is it low voltage?
So I'm now saying that the population is 57 million people.
Yes.
They are generating 41,000 megawatts.
Yeah.
And their peak demand. Peak demand means if you put on all the lights in South Africa,
yeah,
if all the industry put on their light,
yeah,
same time, especially during winter,
yeah,
that's the peak period.
Yeah.
The highest they need at every point in time,
yes,
it's 36,000 megawatts. Okay. So they need 36,000 megawatts. They're generating 41,194 megawatts.
Yeah.
If you are generating 41,000, all you need is 36,000. In the case of Nigeria, and I will talk about areas that have poles for people to understand, areas that are covered by the grid.
Yes.
In Nigeria today, you still need a minimum of 40,000 megawatts for everybody in Nigeria to have electricity 24/7 non-stop. What do we have? Less than 6,000 megawatts that we can actually give to Nigerians. So first we need to know the fact. Then we go into the issue of how come we don't have what we need to have. So how come it has taken all this long as a nation? These are the questions we need to look at.
Get into
and then what are the solutions? How do we get there?
Yeah.
What do we need to do? Before we start naming, blaming, and claiming, we need to get the facts and the statistics right.
We'll get into that, but let me get to Mr. Ayemi, because you are the one feeling the brunt. We are the consumers. And what Chief Sunday is saying here is data, but we want to sell electricity. You know, what do you think is going on here?
Okay, maybe we should do a little bit of history here. At least I've been around some 6 decades in this country. I was born on Lagos Island. I grew up in Surulere. When I was a young lad, I knew ECN. And in Surulere where I grew up, we had 24-hour power supply. And this same country, not a borrowed one. And Chief Odunto has just said, okay, he's giving us the data, he's taking us to South Africa and whatever. But this same country that generates 4,000 megawatts of power would not give us electricity in this country 24/7, but we can sell to other countries. We can sell to Togo, we can sell to we can sell to Benin Republic, and we can sell to Niger Republic. Even when we were told, and we read in the news that they owe us, that they've not been able to pay. If you go into the Power Reform Act, 2005, when this issue of PHCN DISCO came on board, 11 business units, 6 generating companies and 1 transmission company. That's how they broke everything down. Chief Odunto is a player in that sector. And it is not about the population for all I care. It's about the government of the day not providing services for the populace. Pure and simple. And again, I will get angry. This is one country where you pay for services you do not enjoy.
Yes.
Whether you like it or not, you have to pay your bills every month. It's as bad as discos officials climbing the poles and cutting away your cables, saying you have not paid, even when the consumption is not done. We don't consume what we pay for. It's an aberration. It's appalling. It's nauseating.
Okay. You know, before we go on break, Chief Sunday, the reason why the private sector was brought in was to solve the problem. And entrepreneurs anywhere, any day are solution providers. One would have expected that since, the discos, got into this whole power sector, things should have changed. Nigerians should smile. There should be stable electricity because you now have, private sector funding and all of that. But we're not seeing that. What's going on?
Okay. First, I'll make one statement that I will corroborate later, which is the fact that the private sector participant came on board on the 1st of November, 2013. Yes. And I'll prove to you that things are better today than it was in 2013. Okay. That's one, but I'll come back to that one. I come from a great nation. It was a country, but now a town or a city called Abeokuta, where we had a nation of its own before Nigeria came about. Truly, like Yemi said, there was 24-hour electricity. The reason why that was there then was that those who are administering Nigeria before independence and shortly after, they were planning utilities like electricity with population. You can't take utility away from population. If you look at Surulere that Yemi was talking about, was the main GRA, the main posh area of Lagos. No Lekki, no VI, no Ikoyi, right? Growing up in Abeokuta, the population then, only about maybe 9 megawatts of electricity was enough for the whole city then. As the population was growing, what happened was that government over the years failed to grow the amount or quantum of electricity. And I'll give you a good example. Between, and this is not meant to accuse anybody who has ruled Nigeria, this is just a statistics, but we work with figures. Because you can't plan without figures and data. Between 1989 and 1999, Nigeria was ruled by 4 individuals. As of 1989, the Nigerian president or head of state was General Ibrahim Babangida. After him, we had Chief Ernest Shoneko shortly, for a short period, but he was there. After him, we had General Sani Abacha. And lastly, as of 1999, 10-year period, we had General Absalam Abubakar. Yeah. Between these 4, or among these 4 people, Nigerian population kept on going up. Not a single power plant was built for Nigeria in 10 years. And they earmarked a lot of money for NEPA in those days. The records are there for anybody to check. They did not do anything about that. When you failed to plan in 1989, that failure to plan will catch up with you by 2029. That's the way other countries do things. Planning and ensuring that as your population grows, your electricity has to grow. Because what Yemi said is same as saying that a man that had 5 children who was able to look after them, by the time the children grow to, say, about 20, and the man's income remained the same, they will not enjoy that home the way they were enjoying it. Before. That is the reason for that.
Sunday, we'll come
for the
back.
power sector coming back. Okay.
We need to go on a break because
yes.
I still need my answer in terms of private sector is now involved.
Yes.
We expect it to be better.
Yes.
But we'll do that after this break. We'll be right back.
Wow, are you serious?
Yeah, I'm very serious. We visited London, France, Geneva, and finally we went to Eiffel Tower in Paris, the tallest building in the world.
Really? Tallest building in the world? Jasper, what is the tallest building in the world?
The tallest building in the world is the Burj Khalifa, completed in 2009.
Thanks, Jasper.
Is that serious?
Oh, Jasper is the virtual assistant in my house.
You have?
Yes, Gardenia.
Big Talk with DSA, building a new Nigeria.
Welcome back, and we still have Chief Sunday and Mr. Yemi here. So I'm going to start with Mr. Yemi. Before we went on break, Chief Sunday was talking about government not providing what they are supposed to do. So do you want to accept as a citizen that it's not the disco's fault? We should just put all the blame on government?
I think they share the fault here.
Okay.
There's deregulation that started from, I take it from the Act in 2005, and like he rightly pointed out, by 2013, they started operations. Okay, but where are we? Almost 10 years down the lane. Power failure. But you see, when you move around town, I've been to some estates in Lagos where power supply is 24/7. I wonder how that came to be. This is the same Nigeria where we have about, like you said, 210 million people, and government has failed to provide adequate basic amenities like power supply. You know, Nigerians have become discos themselves. You buy your generating set, you power electricity. Exactly. And so let's restrict electricity because we do everything. We hardly patronize government in Nigeria. Your children don't go to public schools. You don't go to public hospitals. But let's narrow it down to power sector. I am my own PHCN for all I care where I live. Yeah. I do not enjoy power supply in my house for 6 hours interrupted. Now there's fuel scarcity in this country. I know what I go through to get fuel. And then this same country will expect me to pay tax. So who do I blame? Chief Oduto here is more like, well, he dines with the powers that be, government people. His responsibility is to give me power because I pay. And I'm representing the average Nigerian. Okay. And I need you to do my work. Okay. Because there's hardly, see, this studio, I'm very sure, is being powered by generating set.
That's true.
Shouldn't be.
Okay.
And then
sure?
let me land on this.
Yeah.
I think there's a conspiracy between the government, the discos operators, the management, and the sellers, importers of generating sets in Nigeria. That should be phased out.
Okay. Obviously, my audience are enjoying this topic. Chief Sunday, a lot of Nigerians are still having to, pay for meter, despite that there was a promise that the whole country, everybody will get free meter. Now we're having to pay. People are still having to pay for transformer. Meanwhile, this sector has been partially deregulated. Why is this still happening?
I will answer that question, but I think you should allow me to respond to my brother to be able to get the issues in perspective. Okay. Instead of moving away from that point that he had made, good point that he had made. First of all, I do understand the frustration of Nigerians, and I want Nigerians to also know that I am also a customer of a disco. In my own case, 2 discos. When I'm in Abeokuta, I'm a customer of Ibadan Electricity Division Company, IBDC. If I'm here in Lagos, I'm a customer of Ikeja Electric. And I live and work in Abuja, I'm a customer of AEDC. What affects me affects my neighbor and vice versa. They cannot give me light and not give my neighbor light. I live in a place called Sun City Estate in Abuja. Now, the quantum of electricity you have depends on where you live. That has to do with the way Nigeria was wired way back. And it also depends on the configuration of customers at different locations. And I'll give you an example. He said he went to some estate. I'll give maybe 2 or 3 of them. Magodo, Ikeja GRA, Shonibare Estate. Now, that's where, okay, a lot of our friends are in Amen Estate. Now, those estates had a special arrangement. The problem of power supply in Nigeria is the problem of Naira and Kobo. Number one, we can be emotional from now till kingdom come. We can make it a drama and be emotional and be talking out of sentiment without talking about the price. The issue is this: we all eat bread. When you eat bread, every time you buy a loaf of bread, that bread comes at a cost. There's a landing cost for bread. And the Yamulika that sells bread in Lekki does not own the bakery. And the baker does not own the flour mill. And the flour mill relies on the farmers that grow wheat. So you look at the cost of wheat, you get to the flour mill. From flour mill to the baker uses flour and other condiments and other things to produce bread. Now they have to transport it from the points. If you know about bread Agege, if you are in Lekki and you want to eat bread Agege, somebody has to convey that bread, that's the transporter. In the case of the power sector, it's the same. The wheat grower, the farmer that sells wheat, let's combine them with the flour mill. They are like the gas suppliers that supply gas to generation companies that produce electricity. The baker is like the generation company that produce the product. Because electricity is a product, not different from bread. Now, from the gas supplier that supply gas, that's a raw material that they need. Let me use Egbe, power plant in Ikorodu. From that Egbe, they have this pipeline all the way from Niger Delta that brings gas to that company. It's like a car. No gas, you can't start it. You need gas to power it. That's a raw material. They have to pay for that. Now, when they now produce the electricity, there's a company called Transmission Company of Nigeria, which is 100% owned by the federal government. They have to transport the electricity from Egbe to the various locations from where we, the distributors, we key into it. So bread will leave the bakery. Egbe is the bakery. Bread is the electricity. And that has to be taken either in a truck, whether it's a trailer or a pickup or a car. If the tire is bad or no fuel in the truck or the roads are bad, you won't get it. So you now get so we are there because you can't get it in 10 years. You cannot correct the adversity of 60 years in 10 years. That's number one. And I'm happy that someone like you that have lived abroad, as I did for over 26 years, will understand how this thing works. The value chain itself. The problem, like I said, is Naira and Kobo. And that's why I started with Magodo. When you have people, after knowing the landing cost of this cup, and you're ready to pay for this, you get this. The moment you still underpay this, you'll be cutting corner. Because
so what you are saying is that
in Nigeria today, we don't have a true cost of electricity.
Nigerians feel they are paying too much.
No, they are paying too low.
And you are saying
that's not politically correct. That's not something I'm asking. And I use bread. Please, you cannot be sentimental about bread. Bread has a cost of production. I'm saying that if the landing cost, and you are asked to sell less than the landing cost, which is happening to electricity.
So we get your point.
The product will not be available.
As far as you, the producer, is concerned, we are underpaying. Do you agree with him that we are not paying enough?
I do not agree. I'm not going to subscribe to that school of thought. The thing is, see,
I'll give you the figure.
This is it. The government of Nigeria owes us power supply. And that is all we understand because we pay. See, this is not being sentimental. He said we should not dramatize. We are not dramatizing for it. This is not theatrics. Because
you may be an actor, but you are not acting right now.
Yes. See,
hear me?
Yeah.
Hear me? How much does it cost to produce 1 kilowatt per hour of electricity? How much?
I don't know. I'm not a professional in that sector.
And I'm telling you that the cost
you have told us, but what we want to see is just like if I sit you down to tell you how we produce movies, you'll be bored.
I'm saying
You
that,
will not want to see behind the scenes.
but you need to know the
But
cost.
what we want is we want to see a good picture at the cinema. What we want is power supply.
If you don't recover your cost, hear me? If you don't recover your cost, you
Chief
will have been out
Oduto,
of
how
market.
do lights?
The landing cost
Those
is about
that
90
pay,
naira.
we say we do not
we
pay.
need-
I
we
pay.
need less than
The
4 naira
members of
break.
the audience pay.
We need to go on.
We even buy
Pay
transformers.
for the
How did we
product.
get to this
You
point?
get it.
We need to go on a. We are going on a break. When we come back, it's the turn of the audience to say their mind. We'll be right back.
The major secret I have learned that has made me successful in business is that it's not how much money you make, but how much it works for you and the generations you keep it for. The only way to achieve this is by investment. Real estate is the only type of investment that has stood the test of time, and we guarantee you massive wealth from generation to generation. What are you waiting for? Invest in real estate today. Invest with GVest today.
Big Talk with DSA, building a new Nigeria.
Okay, welcome back. This is one topic that is, I run business in the US, in the UK, and Dubai. And you know, one thing I'm always grateful for anytime I'm outside Nigeria is that, yes, no more power outage, you know. And it's something that needs to be fixed. We have 3 questions, so let's start with the first person.
Thank you very much. So my question goes to Chief. As a key stakeholder in the electricity sector, now I wouldn't like to get emotional or anything. I actually just want the fact. As someone who's been in the game, in the business, you understand how everything goes, and you know the problem that is happening. What exactly is the way forward? Now you've been talking about the issue. Where exactly are we moving on from here? Thank you.
Yes, second question.
Thank you. My name is Sophia, and my question is for you, Chief, as well. So in 2020, Chancellor Angela Merkel had a partnership with the federal government, and when the president went to Germany to have the conversation about electricity, and they decided to do a partnership with Siemens to generate over 25,000 megawatts. And then we also have the partnership of $12.4 million from South Korea in 2021 regarding the electricity generation. So what's the update with that? How far have we gone with that? And with that, we should be seeing, based on the 5-year process for Angela Merkel, a progression in what we're generating in Nigeria now.
Good question. Very, very good question. I like those 2 questions, yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. My question goes to the Chief.
Chief is in trouble today.
Relating to this power holding thing, first we started using the normal way of electricity before the prepaid came in. And I believe the reason why we did that was because we had the mindset that everything was actually going to be better. But at the same time, it became so worse. Because I know a lot of people, even with your prepaid meter, you still spend more and you don't get the light. So why?
Okay. So, Chief, you have 3 questions.
Thank you very much, sir. First of all, the way forward. Simply, before I say that, let me first apologize to the so many millions of honest Nigerians. I'm not apologizing to the chiefs. There are so many chiefs among us who steal electricity, who bypass their meters, who beat off our staff all the time, which is unacceptable.
Unacceptable.
All those violence are very, very common. We should accept. You see, my brother here cannot tell me that it happens in Dubai, UK, or US. I lived in the UK for 32 years. So you can't see that there.
Nobody will beat up.
If we want this country to work, all of us should come together and do the right thing. We should stop stealing. We like to be thieves in this country. At all levels, though. we like stealing energy and stealing other things. Now, the way forward, we know the problem. One, we are not producing enough. That is to say, in electricity, we are not generating enough.
What question are you answering now?
So the first question is the question, all that he said is towards what is the way forward. Instead of talking about problem, blaming, naming anybody. Now, we will get electricity in this country the day the federal government of Nigeria is able to come out openly, boldly, and tell Nigerians the actual costs of producing 1 kilowatt per hour of electricity. Just like I mentioned bread. If you say 1 loaf of bread, though, this is the landing cost. The day we can tell Nigerians that, they know this is what. And then hold the operators accountable. The system too is not perfect. Whether you're talking about the discos, the transmission, or generation companies, we are not where we are supposed to be. We need to have gone beyond where we are, to be honest. But first of all, government needs to come out. This is the only country where government is even subsidizing petrol. And subsidy.
How does knowing the cost solve the problem?
Now, how it solves the problem is that once you know the cost, so everybody knows that this is what we need to pay. This is the investment that is required. As a businessman, every business you do it towards recouping your investment. You cannot put your money into something that's so toxic that as you go along, your money keeps going down the drain. That's where the issue of cost matters. The issue here is of cost. Okay? Second question. Cement. I think that question is better for the federal government. I always avoid, I'm an Egbaman, and this is another Egbaman here. We do not shy from saying the truth or saying it as it is. But as much as possible, Nigeria is a country where everything is about politics. And I'm not a politician. The truth of the matter is that cement has been here before. Anybody can go and do a research on the achievement of cement during the regime of President Olusegun Obasanjo. Because when cement came about during this current regime, people think they are just coming in. Go and ask questions about what happened to transmission and what happened then. Cement. And you remember Sagem, another company, but cement. That's one. Number two, this one I can say for a fact that the federal government and cement, they are working, and they have even had meetings with all the stakeholders, including us, on what they are trying to do to ensure that
nothing has been done yet.
No action.
No,
what they are doing, you see, in Nigeria, we talk, then we act. Sometimes you talk for long before you start acting. Until people see the result of your action, all those talk doesn't make sense.
So we're still
but I can say we're talking, but we need to act. We need to act. Question number three.
With a government of the day, and when that government is changed, and then
the
talking now begins all over again.
That's
with
correct.
the new government in place.
We need consistency. We need continuity. Last question is about metering. Number one, there's nothing like the meter. The gentleman, before we started, this is my brother in front, said, the meter, he finishes so quickly. The reality, I must tell you, the product has to be paid for. The more electricity you have, the more your credit will have to run out. If you live in Yanokpaja or Okoba, or you live in Magodo, what you pay will be different. But if you live somewhere where they only have 3 to 4 hours, what you pay is also different. We have bands. So the higher the band, the more money you pay per kilo hour. That's why you see it running out quickly, depending on where you live. So, but meter is important. Because metering is an instrument of measurement. People need to be able to measure what they consume. And that is why the federal government, and we must commend them for that, the federal government started what is called National Mass Metering Program. The aim of that is to meter every single household in Nigeria. Some people tell us that they don't want meters. I don't want to mention the area. Even here in Lagos State, they say we don't want meter. Why? When they are paying estimated bill, which they call crazy, not all bills are crazy. Some are crazy. Some owners of some bills are crazier than their bills. They said they don't want meters.
We don't have time.
But now
we have to wrap up. Let me take final word from Mr. Yemi, a concerned citizen.
Yeah. Okay, the question.
Your final word.
My final word is the federal government of Nigeria owes us that duty. Is a service to give us 24/7 power supply. That is the only language you understand. And if that comes to be, the life of the average Nigerian will be for the better. I tell you, a lot of Nigerians will live where they are, far from where they are supposed to do their business, to some very maybe obscure, I don't know whether I use it, very high density areas, because that is the only way they will have access to power. And this is crazy. We see it everywhere. So it is the sole responsibility of the federal government of Nigeria, which you all know, to provide these basic amenities. That is all I understand, because we pay for electricity.
Okay, guys, it's a wrap of another amazing episode of Big Talk with Dr. Stephen Akintayo. For me, one of the things that I've always said over and over again, anything of value comes with a cost, right? If we want better electricity, we will have to pay for it. However, you cannot pay more for something you are not even enjoying at all. And what would have been smart of the operators, government, was to create 2 new products. You have your basic experience in terms of service, and you have maybe a VIP service, and you start with cluster areas, right? Let's say Magodo begin to enjoy 24/7 electricity. Even if they are now paying higher, everybody can see how truthful you are to making sure you provide stable electricity. It will be those in other areas that will beg the operators to say, even though we will pay more, bring to our area this hybrid and better service. And of course, we hope that the government and the operators move to the next level. We are tired of the way Nigeria is going. For 20 years, 4,000 megawatts does not make any sense. We can do better, and it's time to change this nation. Bye-bye.
Big Talk with DSA, building a new Nigeria.